Hello, and you're very welcome to this pit stop overview of Fallout Shelter the board game, a game designed by Andrew Fischer and published by Fantasy Flight Games. Now, Fallout Shelter is based on the Fallout IP, the computer games and the apps, and it's set in a world in which there's been a nuclear apocalypse and humanity has had to take shelter in shelters or in bunkers. In this case, what's happened is you are one of the officers of this bunker and the overseer has died, and you're all going to compete to collect the most happiness, and whoever makes the people in the bunker most happy will be elected the next overseer and win the game. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're going to get this row of basic areas laid out, in which you're going to be able to place your workers into play in order to collect resources in order to build more things. You're also going to get one additional row for each player in the game. In this case, we're playing a 3-player game with their colour elevator in play. On a player's turn, they're going to take 1 or 2 of their workers and they're going to put them into the rooms that are available in order to collect things and activate different actions. For example, one of the basic things would be to come here with my worker, go to this power generator. Now, there's no red cost above this space, so I don't have to pay anything, and I get whatever is in green above there. And in this case, it's one of the 3 resources, it's 2 power. I'll collect that in my own power board up there, and you can now see I've got 3 out of a maximum 6 of power, and the other basic resources are food and water, which you can collect from up here. It would then be down to the other players to have a turn. Now, blue might go to the diner, yellow might go to the water treatment, and then it'll be back to me in order to place my worker again. Some spaces have got those red costs above them before you can take that action. So in this case, if I go to the vault entrance, I put the worker there, it says it's going to cost me 3 food. I would have to pay my 3 food before I get whatever benefit is on top there in green. In this case, it's another worker. We will start with 2, but you can build up and have more over time, allowing you to take more actions. Now, there are more things you can do. You can head out into the wasteland, spend water in order to get these items, and they'll help boost you up in all different sorts of ways, help you fight off threats, which we'll talk about, and possibly also score you some extra happiness when we get to the end of the game. The last you can see up here is you can take first player, but you can also level up, because once all the players have placed out all their workers, or they've chosen to pass, you're going to collect back all your workers from the whole board. But anyone who's in a level up space is going to go into one of these special places, and if you've noticed, some of these have got letters in them, and if I put this worker who's trained for 1 round in L in here, it's going to double their effectiveness. Now, I've only been looking at the basic rooms so far, but I did say you can build up more rooms. And you can do that by coming down here into your own elevator as well as some other rooms. And in your elevator, you have to pay the cost of one of the 3 rooms which are on display down here. For example, if I wanted to build the garden, I would have to have 2 more food in there. And then with my 2 food and 3 power, I could pay those and bring that garden into play under my control. And that's going to allow people to collect more food and will refill. Now, while that's under my control, that means it's free for me to go there. Other players can go there, but every time another player goes to one of the rooms that you've built, you get to take 1 resource of your choice and build up your resources. Now, the game is going to finish either when one player has built 6 rooms to either side of their elevator, or when this threat deck runs out. Now, what's the threat deck? At the beginning of each round, it's going to be very, very hard to see, but there are several columns in the game, and they start from number 2, 3, 4, and so on through 7. You're never going to get threats in, and up here to 12 over here where this player is on the power generator. Each player will roll the dice, and if they roll a column on which they have a space, a threat is going to come into play, and it will block that space. So these rad roaches are blocking access to some of the nuclear reactor. Then the brown player would have to roll. They got a 10, meaning they've got a fire broken out in their nuclear cola bottler, and then the yellow player will have to roll, and they rolled a 7, so that's safe. In order to go back and use these spaces, you have to clear these threats out. The way you clear threats depends upon what the threat is. For example, with this fire, if I came here and I spent 1 water, which is shown in red, it would put the fire out. I would gain 1 happiness, scoring me in effect a point, and at the end of the round, this worker would come back to me and we would get rid of this. However, if I went to deal with the rad roaches, I'm going to have a fight. Now, one of the things you can use equipment for, you can train up workers, you can heal workers, but you can also help you in a fight. For example, I might have taken this minigun. I'm going to look at the value of the enemy and roll the dice. In this case, it's a 5+. Now, I rolled a 7 there, meaning I would defeat this rad roach, it would come back to me and I would get the resource. But let's say I hadn't rolled that. Let's say I'd only rolled a 4. In that case, this worker is now injured. the end of the round, those rad roaches are going to hang around, blocking that space for everyone. And this worker's going to come back to me injured. And I'm going to have to use the basic elevator or possibly a stim pack, or maybe someone will be kind to me and build a med bay in order to heal that worker. So some of your workers can get put out of play by dealing with some of these threats. As I said, the game ends when one player has built 6 rooms or when the entire threat deck has gone. We get to the end of that round, we add up all of our happiness, and whoever has the most happiness is going to be the winner of Fallout Shelter. This has been a Game Pit Stop. For more videos like this, please check out the Dice Tower YouTube channel, and for our in-depth coverage of gaming, please check out the Game Pit podcast. Thank you.